Did you know you can make your own apple cider vinegar? It's really easy. Here, check this out. You may have heard about the recent controversy about a certain billionaire that bought up a very popular apple cider vinegar brand, and so you're not really sure where to get your apple cider vinegar. It makes more sense just to make your own. So, what we're going to start with is we're going to start with organic apples. And you're going to take the apples and you want to put them in a cold water solution. Let me show you how to make that. So when it comes to choosing your apples, not all apples are the same. Some are going to be sweeter than others. So I'm using Honeycrisp apples because they're very high in a natural sugar content. If you don't get apples that have a lot of sugar, all you have to do is take a tablespoon of sugar and add it to the blend when we're done. Just so you know before you get started. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put your apples in some water. I'm using filtered water because from my perspective it doesn't make a lot of sense to use fluoridated water to clean my apples. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add vinegar. Okay, so since I put this in here, I'm going to add 1 cup of raw apple cider vinegar. You can use any kind of vinegar you want. I use the raw apple cider because it's more gentle on them. It's an organic apple cider vinegar. And then take a bowl or a plate and cover them. You can do this in your sink, but you have to make sure that the apples stay submerged. And you're going to leave it in there for about 5 or 10 minutes. So after they've soaked for 5 minutes, you're going to soak them in some water. This is clean filtered water. Give it a light brush. You don't have to be super thorough. You're just trying to knock off the dirt and debris, like that stuff there. Now I guess we got to figure out what we're going to put it in. So I just used the fermentation lids. You can pick these up at Walmart. You can get them online. They're about 12, 13 bucks. You're going to take them. They're going to look like this. It's just a metal spring with a plastic lid and a vent. And of course you're going to have a jar as well. And by the way, this is a 32-ounce jar. So you're going to want to take the apples and dice them up and put them in a jar. One trick or tip that I found with this, since you want to make sure that all the apple parts are going to be submerged and underneath the water, I usually take a thin slice of the apple out of the middle, like this, and that I'm going to put on top, and when the spring's on it, it'll make sure to hold everything down. And when you do this, you do it all, stems, seeds, and all. Now, if you didn't choose a sweet enough apple, or if you want to speed up this process, this is where you would add your sugar. You would make some sugar water out of it, because we're going to use more filtered water, and you want to just add water to it. But make sure you don't go to the top, because this will expand. You're going to add enough water to it like that, and then put your lid on it. This will push it down, and make sure that the apples are below the level of the water. Always make sure that they stay below the level. Anything that's not, you can scrape off the top with a spoon. That way you can keep all the stuff off the top. Otherwise it'll get moldy and it could ruin the ferment. Okay, so here's a quick tip. I'm about 14 hours into the ferment, and as you can see, we have a problem. We have floaties in the jar. These are coming to the surface. These could cause a problem. They could get moldy, and that's going to ruin the whole batch. So I talked to a friend of mine who does fermentation. He makes wine and beer and stuff like that, and I told him the situation. At that point, I was about 12 hours in. He said you have about 20 to 24 hours as long as you don't have a lot of bubbles forming, and you can fix it. What I did to fix it was I took one of the other apples from yesterday, and I cut them into slices. Very thin slices. They're very thin. And what he said we can do is we can take them and just layer the top with the slices. This is going to prevent any of the little chunks from coming to the top. We absolutely have to make sure that that's going to happen. But as you can see, it's already starting to turn yellow. It smells really good. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just layer these, just like this, all the way across. So that way they cover the entire inner surface of the jar. And this is going to ensure that all the little chunks stay where they belong and they don't get up top. So that's just something for you to pay attention to. I went ahead and put them in. I've pushed everything back down. There are no floaties on the top now. Just something for you to pay attention to. In about 2 weeks, I'll make another video and we'll tell you what it looks like when it's all done.